redrawn, alliances tested, and economies shaken. In the Middle East, war continued to cast shadows on energy and logistics. In Europe, economic confidence stumbled. The United States had its own challenges. And yet, in the middle of all this noise, India stood apart and grew faster than any other major nation. This is not a coincidence. It is the result of a vision, of intent, of policy. I say this with a full conviction that the Indian government, both at the center and across the states, has laid down the foundation for a truly historic transformations. A transformation not of a few, but for an entire nation whose best chapters are just beginning. My dear shareholders, as a youngster, I saw my mother as my guiding star. I recall her often saying, "History does not remember sailors who sailed in a still waters. It remembers those who fought the wildest storms and yet returned home." कहते हैं, लहरों से डरकर नौका पार नहीं होती, हिम्मत करने वालों की कभी हार नहीं होती. And my dear shareholders, that is exactly what we have done. Even in the face of the storms and relentless scrutiny, the Adani Group has never backed down. Instead, we proved that a true leadership is not built in sunshine. It is constructed in the fire of crisis. This was tested again last year when we faced allegations from the US Department of Justice and the ACC relating to Adani Green Energy. Despite all the noise, the facts are that no one from the Adani Group has been charged with violating the FCPA or conspiring to obstruct justice. We live in a world where negativity often echoes louder than the truth. And as we cooperate with the legal processes, let me also restate that our governance is of global standards and our compliance frameworks are non-negotiable. And our numbers tell their own story. Even in a year of turbulence, we saw record-breaking revenue, unprecedented growth, and historic profitability. We are a proof of a group that dares to dream beyond constraints and powered by a nation that breathes possibility into every tomorrow ahead of us. Therefore, I say, मंजिलें क्या है, रास्ता क्या है, हौसला हो तो फासला क्या है. My dear shareholders, in FY25, our numbers were strong across all our sectors. We did more than just scale. We created impact, inspired change, and most importantly, deepened our national commitment. Let me walk you through a few examples of our progress. Adani Power crossed 100 billion units of generations, a scale never before matched by any private sector company. It is now well on track to reach 31 gigawatt capacity by 2030. Adani Green is building world's largest renewable energy park right here in India and visible even from space. From Khavda to the world, our target of 50 gigawatt by 2030 is a proof that scale and sustainability can coexist. In fact, when we combine our thermal, renewable, and pump hydro generations capacities, we expect to have 100 gigawatt capacity by 2030. Adani Energy Solutions handles smart metering, high voltage links, and is keeping India's grid future ready. It secured close to 44,000 crores in a transmission order and is executing 13,600 crore worth of smart metering projects. Adani New Industries is building electrolyzers and solar modules at a global scale.
अगर आप बनना चाहते हैं एंकर या फिर आप में है जुनून एक तेज तर्रार न्यूज रिपोर्टर बनने का, तो आप ज्वाइन करें ITV और इंडिया न्यूज़ का मीडिया स्कूल। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का कोर्स आपको मौका देता है देश के दिग्गज एंकर्स के साथ काम करने का। ITV नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल में आप बेहद नजदीकी से देख पाएंगे किस तरह से आईटीवी नेटवर्क के दिग्गज पत्रकारों की टीम दिन रात खबरों पर काम करती है। इस कोर्स के दौरान आप सीखेंगे एंकरिंग की एक एक बारीकी उन एंकर्स के साथ जो देश को रखते हैं हर खबर से बाखबर। आईटीवी नेक्स्ट मीडिया इंटरनेशनल स्कूल का ये कोर्स आपके एंकरिंग स्किल्स को करेगा इतना सशक्त, मजबूत, जिससे आप बनेंगे पत्रकारिता की दुनिया का वो चमकता चेहरा जो दुनिया देखेगी और पसंद करेगी।
आज नक्सलवाद भी भारत में अपनी अंतिम सांसें गिन रहा है।
मैं सबसे पहले एक बात इस सदन में जिम्मेदारी के साथ बताना चाहता हूं, 21 मार्च 2026 को इस देश से नक्सलवाद समाप्त।
ये बहुत ही घने जंगल है यहाँ पे। तो तुम्हारा नाम क्या है? One common conclusion that we can draw inside the jungles at this time of the hour, at night.
Welcome back, viewers. Let's put the focus back on the breaking developments. The National Investigation Agency has stated that the two arrested accused persons charged for harboring the terror perpetrators from the Pahalgam terror attack were produced before the NIA Special Court at Jammu, and they have been remanded to 5 days of police custody. It is reiterated that the two accused persons have been arrested in connection with the attack. During their interrogation, they have disclosed the details about the identities of the 3 armed terrorists that were involved. As per the statement, which further reads that the NIA has gathered a substantial body of evidence regarding the identities of the terrorists. This includes eyewitnesses' accounts from the victims, video footages, technical evidence, sketches released by the Jammu and Kashmir police. Ajay Jandal is joining me with more updates on that. Now, in fact, NIA has gathered the substantial evidence on these two accused in the Pahalgam terror attack. What more has been uncovered so far? As per the security agencies continue to unfurl the associations of these two arrested with the other terrorists. What more can you add up here, Ajay, as pertaining to the special probe by the NIA? All right, now viewers, the NIA has updated about the investigation. 2 have been arrested for harboring the terrorist in the Pahalgam terror attack. As per the NIA, the 2 arrested have been charged for harboring the terror perpetrators who have been produced before the NIA Special Court on the 23rd of June at Jammu. They have been remanded to 5 days of police custody. All right, viewers, following the announcement by the United States President on the proposed ceasefire between Israel and Iran, Trump has now shared yet another piece of information, saying that the ceasefire is now in effect. He has also said, and I quote, "Please do not violate it." President Trump's proposed timeline allowed for a 6-hour period for both the sides to wind down final missions that have now expired. Colonel T.P. Tyagi is there with me live on the telecast. Colonel, how do you look at these statements that have now come in the final leg of putting focus on the developments coming from the Middle East by Donald Trump, saying that the ceasefire is in the effect and they should not violate it, while only 6-hour window time has been given to wind up? Earlier, what in fact was stated by the United States President Donald Trump also wasn't seen followed on the ground. So, how do you respond to this?
In the habit of saying that yes, I have brokered the ceasefire. He did so between India and Pakistan also, but India had the audacity and courage to look into his eyes and tell him that no, you are wrong. It was done between India and Pakistan bilaterally. Probably this may not be the courage with Israel at all and with Iran also. And then Iran is at a situation that any further delay in ceasefire or stoppage of hostilities can create very big problem for Iran because their airspace has been 100% dominated by Israel and they can attack at will. This is one. And the biggest blow they received was from Qatar because they tried to strike the Qatar airfield where the military base of America is situated. And they were expecting that Qatar will not respond because they said that Qatar is my friend and this strike is against America and not against Qatar. But Qatar rose up and said that it is a breach of our sovereignty, it is a breach of our airspace and we will retaliate. Then Iran realized that if it is happening with Qatar, it will happen with other Middle East countries also where America's airfields are situated. Hence, it may go highly against me. And as it is, other bigger nations have also not come in my support. So they was cornered and they had no other option but to accept ceasefire, but with a face saving. And with a face saving that they expressed in this 6-hour time, the window which was given, Iran attacked with missiles, and that has caused a big harm in Israel. Israel also retaliated. But it appears that ceasefire may take place because statements have come both from Israel and Iran. And Donald Trump wants it to stay because that carrot is in front of him, the Nobel Peace Prize. He will ensure that they do not violate it. But question remains that has Israel achieved its aim? Has Iran been put under pressure that he will not make a bomb? And it is not a ceasefire. Ceasefire takes place when you sign terms of references, when it is a written agreement. There are other nations also in that. It is only a stoppage of hostilities. It may continue for some time, it may become permanent, it depends upon the time to come. But under the present circumstances, it appears that both the countries have temporarily stopped firing on each other. If it continues for some time, it is a good news for the Middle East and for the rest of the country also, because Iran was thinking of stopping the Strait of Hormuz also. And if that had happened, it would have had consequences not only for Middle East, not only for the entire country, but for Iran itself. Because Iran's maximum oil is transported through Strait of Hormuz to China, and if China is at loss, Iran is at loss, then I do not know what benefit will they get out of it. But nevertheless, Khomeini had given a tacit approval that you close the Strait of Hormuz. Now with the ceasefire, I think this Strait of Hormuz closer danger has also been wiped out, and it's a good news, and we accept it with congratulations to both the countries.
Colonel Tyagi, in fact, as you are saying, it is a welcome step, more rightly so, as even in the hours to come, the following announcement that have been made only firstly entail to the confirmation that comes from the state heads who are in the conflict. If we talk about the breaking developments, Israel's emergency services have announced that at the site of the direct missile hit in Beersheba, there are concerns that people may be trapped in 3 apartments with the serious damage reported, where the search efforts cannot be conducted as well. Well, even as the ceasefire announcement follows, the kind of retaliations that have taken place after the big announcement on Truth Social, they have also resulted in a very tense manner on the ground. Israel's Airports Authority has now also said that the country's airspace has reopened for emergency flights after closing earlier due to hours-long barrage of missiles from Iran. Well, all right. In fact, Shruti Dasgupta, Ms. Shruti Dasgupta continues to be with me live on the telecast. Welcome back, ma'am. Thank you very much for being with us. Now, it's a big announcement as Trump has reiterated once again. The ceasefire is in place. Please do not violate it. With the statement urging also a request to these nations. Does this also then mean that the earlier announcement that has been made by Trump was not in consultation with the warring countries?
That the nations that were actually warring did not even know of the ceasefire being called by Trump. Trump seems to jump the gun. He wants to shove his version of peace, his version of ceasefire down the throats of nations that are still fighting each other for survival. So this, we know that Iran has defied it. They launched missiles after 4 a.m. The strike hit at 6, I think, today in the morning, and as you've just reported, they have caused loss of life in Israel itself. It's, I think it's Be'er Sheva is the nation, is the area that has been under attack. Israel on its side has been dropped silence. You've not heard anything come out of anybody. So I guess they are still calculating their options. And this recent tweet by Donald Trump is more like behave yourself or else kind of warning to both the nations that I can get serious and I can withdraw support from Israel if Israel breaks it, or attack Iran more if Iran breaks it further. So he is shoving his version down throats of the entire nations and the world that this is how peace is supposed to go. And as we've already mentioned, this I'd like to call him Credit GV. He wants to take credit for every peace that is ever present on this planet. And this Credit GV wants to take claim for every kind of peace, every cessation of hostilities, despite him participating in the hostilities, despite him breaking trust first with Israel, then with Iran. So he is looking for Peace Prize nominations. And this is his way of making sure that people agree to it. Who knows what is the back channel talks happening? Who knows whether Israel has promised to nominate him for Peace Prize and that's why they're quiet? And who knows how far Iran will hold to this peace? As I've stated earlier, there are 2 points that I would like to focus on from here on forth. Whether the Strait of Hormuz opens up, because the Irani parliament had declared that they would close it for passage of cargo. And the other is whether Iran will come back into the folds of IAEA, which it had unilaterally now walked out of because it felt betrayed by the IAEA and how it had revealed the locations of its nuclear arsenal as well as its scientists to Israel and America, which led to almost a complete unraveling of its nuclear ambitions. So I'd like to see whether Iran comes to the table on these 2 talking points and the peace in Middle East would be lasting in any form or not. Simran.
Well, absolutely. In fact, Ms. Shruti Dasgupta, this is what you are trying to, in fact, stitch in a perspective as we speak of the developments coming in. I also have my guest, Colonel T.P. Tyagi, with me live on the broadcast. T.P. Tyagi, sir, at this point of time, one comment that I would like to take from you over the present scenario. How do you see the developments coming over after this latest tweet by Donald Trump has been made?
What is the latest tweet? Please just repeat.
Donald Trump, United States President Donald Trump has said that a ceasefire is in effect and he urges both the nations to not violate it.
Yes. Donald Trump had no other choice but to do it. And as the lady was telling very correctly, her name Shub Dasgupta, she was saying that probably the nation did not know that ceasefire has been ordered by Donald Trump, but nevertheless, because it suits Israel also and Iran also, they accepted the ceasefire. Donald Trump has said so, and this is not a written ceasefire. This is stoppage of hostilities. A stoppage of hostilities does not mean that it is permanent. But then, yes, it is a welcome situation. Donald Trump cannot expect Nobel Peace Prize out of it because there are very many terms which are yet to be decided. First is, will they allow Iran to get out of the nuclear proliferation treaty? Will they allow? Will the IAEA allow? No, they will not because in 2015 they had entered into a nuclear agreement, and after having had entered into a nuclear agreement, you cannot get out of the NPT. This is one thing. And if it does not come out of the NPT, will they allow Iran to enrich their uranium up to 60% or 80%? No. So this is one big question which exists over there. And second thing, the problem of Hamas, Houthis, Hezbollah, there is some sort of ceasefire between Israel and Iran. But is there any ceasefire between the branches of that octopus Iran, which are terrorist groups? Is there any ceasefire with them? Houthi can still continue to attack, Hamas can continue to attack, Hezbollah can continue to attack. So that is also not covered. This is also be discussed. And then third thing, there is a basic charter. There is a charter in Hamas, Hezbollah, Houthi, Iran, and the charter is that Yahudis should be obliterated from the face of the earth and particularly from the Middle East. Will it be acceptable? Now, unless a basic or original change is made, it is difficult to make a change in the thinking, but some change can be made on paper. Unless that is done, this situation will remain. And if Iran says, nobody can stop me from making an atom bomb, will Israel accept it? Today, they may accept it temporarily because both of them have been bruised very badly, but after some time,